All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are going to break down the Carolina Panthers schedule for 2024. So let's get into that. So the Panthers, they went 2-15 last season. It was not a very good year, to put it lightly. And they're looking for a better year out of Bryce Young in his second season. And they got a new head coach, and like I said, they made improvements to the offensive line. They surrounded Bryce Young with more talent. They drafted a running back, drafted a receiver. They traded for a receiver in Deontay Johnson. So they're hoping that with more weapons and better protection, that Bryce Young and a different head coach, that Bryce Young will have a better year too. And Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator with Tampa, and Baker Mayfield had a good year, so maybe he can help out Bryce Young, and Bryce Young can have a better year. So, I think it's only up for Bryce Young. I think he will have a better season. Now, I don't know how much better, but I think he'll have a better season. We'll see. So, yeah, I don't really know. I'm just kind of the mindset that the Panthers are going to have. Maybe they do a little bit better, but yeah, I think the Panthers are going to have a bad year. Their schedule is tough because, you see some of the teams they got to go up against. You got the Chiefs, you got the Bengals on the schedule, you got the Bears, the Eagles. Well, the Bears, we'll see. But I feel like the Bears are going to be good. And within your own division, yeah, you only won one game, and that was against the Falcons last year. So they start off the year against the Saints. Now, do I think they can win this game? Yes. Am I going to say they are going to win this game? No, I'm not. I think they start off the season 0-1. And then they take on, after that, they take on the Chargers. And I think the Chargers are going to be a sneaky good team. We'll see. But I think that they're going to win this matchup here. So I'm going to say the Panthers lose this one. So they're going to start off the year 0-2. Then they take on the Raiders. Raiders play well at home. Do I think the Panthers, have a shot to win the game? Yeah, I think so. And I'm curious to see who ends up with the starting quarterback job. Is it Gardner Minshew? Is it Aiden O'Connell? I got to take the Raiders, though. I think the Raiders win. So now the Panthers are 0-3. And they're like, here we go again. Then they take on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Now, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they tend to start off slow. But with that being said, I don't think it really matters here. I think the Bengals are the better team. Much better team. So I'd say the Bengals win here. So now the Panthers are 0-4. And you can kind of see where this is going. Then they take on the Bears. Now, they played the Bears last season, and it was a close game. Justin Fields was hurt, though. Tyson Bagent started. I forget what the final score was. I think, was it 16-13? I'm going to go back and look. But, yeah, it's going to be different now. You got Caleb Williams in there. And, look, like I said, I think the Bears are going to be good. And I think being at home as well, I just think they're going to win in this spot. Yeah, the final score was 16-13. I think the Panthers were winning at one point because I forget. They ran back a punt return or a kick. A punt return. They got a touchdown out of that, but the Bears still won. I think the Bears are going to win here. So now the Panthers are 0-5. Then they take on the Falcons. Now, the Falcons were the one team that the Panthers did beat within their division. So, I don't know if they are going to do that because I think the Falcons are, going to be better with Kirk Cousins. So, I'm going to give the Panthers another loss there. Now, I do think they will pick up their first win either against the Commanders or against the Broncos. I think they will get at least one win from those 2 games. So at that point, they're going to be 1-7. But then I have them losing to the Saints yet again. Then they take on the Giants in Germany. Now, the Panthers could win that game. They could. But I think the Giants will win that game. And who knows, maybe I might go to that game. I know my mom was saying it, that, hey, let's go to the game in Germany. And we're like, yeah, I mean, that's one of the few games the Giants maybe could win this year, so why not? But yeah, I have the Panthers losing. Then they have a bye. Then they take on the Chiefs. That's a loss. I don't really have to get into the reason why. Now, the Buccaneers, they came close to beating the Bucs twice last year. And I think when I did the Bucs schedule breakdown, I think I had them sweeping the Panthers again. They could win one of those games. Because they should have won the finale when the Buccaneers won 9-0 because they had 2 touchdowns and one of them ended up being a touchback. The receiver ended up fumbling. I forget who it was. Was it Terrence Marshall? I forget. But they ended up fumbling, so that's points taken off the board. And then they had a touchdown again, a rushing touchdown, but that got called back. There was a penalty on the play. So and the Buccaneers struggled offensively in that game. They won 9-0. So they could win one of those games against Tampa. But then after that, against the Eagles, I think that's a loss. Against the Cowboys really beat them up last year. And that was a home game for the Panthers. I think that's a loss. The Cardinals, that could be an interesting game. But, with Kyler Murray, I think the Cardinals win that. But I could see the Panthers pulling off an upset there. And like I said, I could see them pulling off an upset against the Bucs at least once. And like I said, they beat the Falcons last year. But that was with Desmond Ridder at quarterback. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say they get 3 wins. I don't know. I'm not a believer of the Panthers right now. But it could be different. They could beat the Giants. Like I said, the Broncos and the Commanders, they could beat. They could at least get 1 or 2 divisional games this year. The Cardinals, I think, is a winnable game. The Raiders, I think they could win that. So, how many games is that now? So I said the Giants, they could win. The Raiders, they could win. The Commanders and the Broncos, 2 divisional games. The Cardinals, that's 7. But I don't think they're going to win all those games. I think you're going to see 3 wins. So they're going to, the record's going to be better than last year, but not by that much. But we'll see. Bryce Young could go out there and have a great year, and maybe they do win. Maybe they do double their win total to 4 or get to 5. But for me right now, I just don't see it. I don't see it. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I think I said, their schedule is really tough. Yeah, you got the Chiefs in there, the Eagles, the Cowboys. I don't think it's impossible to beat teams in your own division. Well, they also got the Bengals, too. Yeah, I feel like they do have some winnable games here, but I'm not a believer of the Panthers right now. But we'll see. Like I said, they made improvements. So let's see if those pay off. But yeah, right now, I would say 3 wins, maybe. But yeah, they went 2-15 last year. Now, if they finish with a 3-14 record, and Bryce Young has another down year, yeah, that's a problem. But only time will tell. Again, it's very early. Just my opinion. They did also trade Brian Burns, their best defensive player, to the Giants. So, Panthers defense was not good last year. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I just not really a believer of the Panthers. So, but maybe they could prove me wrong. If they go out there and they win week 1, then already they're off to a much better start than last year. So, and let's not forget, they did beat C.J. Stroud and the Texans. They did do that. That was one of their 2 wins, which is hard to believe. So, there's an upset in there somewhere. So we'll have to see if they could pull it off. But yeah, that's the Panthers' schedule. Let me know what you guys think. How many games do you think they will win in 2024? So before we go to break, just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate. Get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link. That is GSMCPodcast.net. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is GSMCPodcast.net. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker at the bottom of the show segment down below. So when we come back from our second break of the show, we will talk about Nick Chubb, talking about the play that got him hurt and where he's at in his recovery from his injury from last year. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.